Why do we let vision go? What happens in our lives? Quoting Dr. Miles Monroe, he says that the most expensive place on the earth
It's the
is the
graveyard.
graveyard.
I thought about that same quote.
So people die with vision stored inside of them, or people, they let the visions within their heart go. It's like the glimmer of light that used to shine in their eyes now become dull.
hmm
Why do we let vision go?
I think there can be a couple of reasons why we let vision go. The first reason I think people let vision go is because they feel like they can't achieve it.
Mm.
I think they feel like sometimes it may be too big, whatever that is. Say for instance, we have a vision to take our family on a month-long vacation. For some, that may be too big of a vision that seems unattainable.
Mhm.
And I think they would just throw it out their mind, be like, "Oh, I'll never achieve that."
Yeah.
I think another reason, and this word is thrown around a lot, but I think another reason is trauma or life experiences. Life experiences causes people to let their vision go, whether it could be being hurt on the job, it could be your spouse talking negative to you or telling you your vision is stupid, your vision is dumb. People really deal with stuff like that,
No, they do. It's
and it really
unfortunate.
kills the vision on the inside of them. What do you think?
Yeah, I think too, I think they let it go because they stopped looking at it.
Mm,
You don't, when you turn your eyes away from something, you forget what it looks like.
yeah.
You forget the details of it. You forget how it makes your heart jump a beat when you stare at it and you imagine yourself. When that imagination goes, because you've drifted your sight, your natural sight from the vision, it can go away.
Out of sight, out of mind.
Yes.
Hey, everybody, welcome to Holy Hustle and Dirty Dishes podcast. I am your co host, Curtis.
And I'm Monica.
And this is my lovely wife, Monica. And as you heard it, this is the Holy Hustle Dirty Dishes podcast, where we take faith-filled families from overwhelm to building a stronger family culture and a deeper relationship with God.
Yes. And today is our second episode.
It's our second
We're
episode.
excited. And
We're super
today
excited.
we're going to talk about what?
We're going to be talking about vision.
Vision.
And so we're super excited about this topic because I think this topic is extremely loaded of how to build vision. We're going to talk about what's missing in vision, when vision is missing, what that looks like in the family.
Mhm.
And we're going to also be hitting some points on how to help you create vision for your family. And if you stay to the end, you'll hear what our vision is that we've created for our family.
Exactly.
Exactly. So let's get started. We're going to go ahead into when vision is missing. So, what does that look like in a family structure? So, I guess we'll start off with our first question.
Yeah.
And our first question is, have you ever looked around and realized we were just surviving instead of building something?
Yeah. I think that this is the perfect question, even as we're talking about vision, opening up because um, the beautiful thing about vision is actually it guides you. It guides you on where you're supposed to go. And I think it helps push with momentum. And so the question is, have you looked around and saw that you're just surviving instead of building something? Absolutely. Absolutely. I think that
Let me ask you this. What did that look like? When you think about the question,
Mhm.
us just surviving and not really building anything,
Yeah.
like what did that look like for you?
The best way I could describe it, you know how when you're watching a movie and it gets to the scene and everything kind of like goes dark a little bit, and then you just see the lights moving, everything is moving super, super, super fast, and it's like the person you're looking at it, you're in the same space, but everything is kinda moving around like that,
Yeah.
but you haven't moved from your space, and it's like time is continually moving,
Mhm.
and everybody's going around and actually doing things, but you're not.
Yes.
That's exactly what it when I think about the mentality, because 'cause we're talking about families too, of actually just surviving and not building anything. Your time is moving on, you're doing the same thing every single day, year after year, you're probably within the same financial bracket, you're probably the only thing that may change though, your clothes size may change.
Ain't that the truth? I think that's about the only thing that be growing.
Yeah, so your clothes size will probably change, but you're not moving, you're not building anything, and I honestly think that for a time in our life, because we had 5 kids in 7 years,
Yeah.
the first 3 were literally born in 2016, 2017, 2018. I was pregnant at 10 months and then pregnant again at 5 months, and everything is a blur. I wasn't building nothing but
But
raising the children. I was pregnant consistently, and with the high risk pregnancies that I had, it was miserable. It was miserable, and I didn't have like vision. I didn't see the beauty in the birthing and the building process at the time because it was a lot to handle at once. And so I'm sure there were many, many other moments,
mm,
but when I think about just time just moving and I'm kind of like still in the same place and then my waistline just got bigger, like bigger and bigger.
right.
I didn't have vision in that time, if
Yeah.
that makes sense. What about you?
Yeah. I've definitely had moments where I've looked and realized where I wasn't building anything, you know, where we were just literally in survival mode. And for me, what that looked like was I could literally be sitting on a couch, or
Mhm.
I could be outside in the yard or doing something. I'm like, what am I doing? Like, I would literally ask myself, and
Yeah.
I've asked myself that so many times, like, what am I doing? Because I think it comes to a point where you realize that there is more.
Yeah.
You know,
There has to be
there
more.
has to be
And that
more to
question
life
comes.
than this. Like, what am I doing? I'm just grinding. I'm, trying to pay off bills. So I've definitely realized where we've been in the hustle, being overwhelmed or being in the surviving mode and just not instead of building something for the
Yeah.
future. You even talked about one time where, we're trying to get out of debt and we want to cancel
Again.
again because we did it before and we
Mhm.
accumulated some debt. Sorry, guys, I'm a spender. But so we're trying to get out of some debt. And I was like, well, let me just open up some more days to take some more clients. I'm trying to think about all these different things that I could do. And you told me, you was like, babe, slow down. We can do all these things, but what are we building for the future?
Yeah.
What are we doing that's going to be sustainable?
Mhm.
And it's true. It really made me slow down and really think because all I'm doing is like, let me get out of this debt. Let me pay this credit card off right quick. Instead of really building something that's meaningful and a little bit more longer lasting, if that makes sense.
Mm.
So that brings us to our next question is what did that season of drift feel like for us emotionally, spiritually, or relationally? So we talked about kind of what it looked like, but how did it feel?
Interesting. I don't know why I'm laughing. You should not be laughing at my head.
Yes.
No, because I should not laugh because it's not funny. But I was
It's not funny,
depressed.
but listen,
Listen,
it's real.
no, it was a sad moment because not only that too, like with our second daughter, while I was on high risk maternity leave. I lost a job. Like the whole department closed down. So I
That's
was,
true.
yeah. So we had a daughter, and then on the second daughter, while I was high risk pregnancy with her, we're using up our savings because the department closed down, and I'm literally looking for a new job.
Yeah.
Um, right at while I'm pregnant, trying to
I
apply.
remember asking you, "Are you depressed?"
Yeah, and I was like,
You remember
"What is
you remember the
that?"
time I called you and I was like, "I'm just checking on you, just making sure you're not gonna throw the babies off, like, out of the window or
I
something."
can't believe you said that. Like, why did you say that?
Why did I say what?
Just now. No, but I didn't know it at the moment.
No,
I didn't
it
realize it
was
at the
just
moment, though.
I know.
But I remember
I
you
didn't think
saying,
you were really gonna do it, but,
yeah.
I'm just saying,
That's not Nope, it's not.
I mean, don't they ask you that at the doctor? Like, do you feel like you wanna hurt somebody?
No, they asked you if
They
you
ask you these questions. This is real
so
life.
you were researching about
Yes.
postpartum depression, and so
Yes.
you was asking me trying to
Yes. I'm
diagnose me.
asking you. I'm saying, do
That's
you feel
true.
like you wanna
I
get
didn't know you
regular
were
pay?
doing I didn't know you were doing that.
Yes, because I knew something was off.
Yeah, I
I
didn't know,
didn't
though.
know, and, I just
I
knew.
thought I was fine.
You thought you were fine. You told me you wasn't depressed,
Mhm.
you know? And I remember a time I was depressed and didn't know it too, though,
Mm.
which actually segue, which we're going to be talking about depression on one of our next episodes. So we want you guys to be looking out for that. That's going to be a really, really great episode. We're going to be talking about depression and family and how it all works together or whatever. We'll see. But yeah, so for you, you feel like you were depressed, right?
Yes, in the
Or
season
sad?
of drift. Because
Yeah.
it's a dark place when
Hmm.
you don't see beyond your current situation, and your current situation is one that is a little bit gloomy,
Yeah.
and that's all that you're seeing.
Hmm.
It's not easy unless you, like, stir up joy on the inside of you and you pull it from someplace. You literally have to intentionally pull it from someplace, but if you don't have the strength to do that. You smiling? This is not funny. It's not.
Because I'm thinking about
Yeah.
what you said. Why did you just say that on camera?
Yeah. No,
But
but,
go ahead.
so what I was saying, like, if you it's a dark place because it's a
Yeah.
dark place, but if you don't, because you can't see beyond your current situation.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Well, I'll say for me, I definitely had self-pity, you
Mm.
know, like feeling bad for myself. I wouldn't say I was necessarily depressed in one particular point. I was depressed. I would say it was a combination of pity mixed in with some confusion, just that question of what am I doing with my life? What do I have to show for what I've built or what I've done? So that's how I felt emotionally.
Would you say you had vision in that season?
I thought I did.
Oh, really?
I think I've always thought I've had vision, but I may have gotten lost somewhere in that. Um, you know, say for instance, like for example, for my business, by this point, I thought I was going to be a multimillionaire. You know, I thought I was going to be a multimillionaire
Mhm.
salon, award-winning salon owner, and I have not achieved that per se. Not the multi-million, neither salon owner. Maybe if I put the awards out there. I've never even, I haven't even done anything towards it, to be honest. But um, I don't even remember where I was going with that.
Well, I asked if you had vision in that season,
Oh yeah, you asked me if
and
I
you
had
said
vision.
yes.
Yeah, I thought I did. I thought I
Interesting.
had vision in that season, but I think just the work of it all caused me to, there's a saying in business, you have to work on your business and not in your business. And I think in that season, I was working more in the business. I was more of the technician and not the business owner. And I think and that is where I lost my vision and what I was and what I wanted to do for the family. And I think in the busyness of just being behind the chair caused me to lose that some, if that makes sense.
Okay. So um let's break down a little bit when we're talking about vision. What does vision mean to us or you
Mhm.
in this season of life? Like, what does it mean to you? Vision.
So that's a good question. To me, so when I think about vision, I think about a place that I'm trying to get to or something that I'm trying to obtain. So for me, in this very moment that we're in right now, vision is basically is a place that I'm trying to get to. You know, a place where I see in my mind
Okay.
something that I see in my mind or in my heart that I want to achieve, and that's vision for me.
Okay.
That's what vision means. What about you?
Um, I would say vision is a kind of, I don't want to say it's complex,
Mhm.
but I think when you first think about vision in a natural, you think about what you can see, the
Mhm.
things that you can see.
Yeah.
And I guess based upon where we are now, we were supposed to record this podcast many, many days ago, but
Yeah.
one of our daughters were in the hospital for several days. And I began to think about vision differently in that moment. I began to think about I mean, when you have your child that's there, that's, in pain and it's not a whole lot you can do. I begin to wonder, like, okay, not only vision for what I see or what I desire, but I begin to ask, okay, what does God's vision for me? What does God see about me in this moment? What is his perspective of me here and his vision for our daughter? And it it shifted a little bit because it was a difficult moment there. The care was okay, but,
Yeah.
there were some problems that actually
Mm.
took place while we were there, and I was wrestling, um, with, the diagnosis that they were giving her, saying that she may have to be on meds for a very long time,
Mhm.
that I didn't see that. I didn't see that taking place, and it just didn't feel right on the inside of me, and I was like, "I just don't believe that this is the vision that God had for her in the moment." Like, I know that
Right.
some kids, may need to be on certain medications to help
Patience.
them, but it's just in this moment, it just didn't sit right, and it stems from the vision that how I believe God saw me.
Mhm. So
And so in this moment, in this season, because the question was like, what is vision to you in this season? It is how not only what I see for myself, but and as far as beyond, and it's not just like a current vision, but it has to do with how God sees me. And I'm just thinking about Abraham, and like I was telling you a little bit earlier today, about the difference between like obeying and seeing something and doing what God has told you to do and vision itself, and how when Abraham stepped out in obedience and God told him, go to a place that I'm going to show you, he didn't see anything in that moment, but he was just stepping out in obedience. But when he took him to he was like, look at the sand, look at the stars, and I'm gonna do this for you. That is in that moment where God imparted, I believe, vision into Abraham.
that's good.
And so I believe that vision can come through, because I know it's like, okay, in this season, vision can come through obedience, and you may not know in the moment exactly, but you'll be able to see it as you kind of walk in that step. Because I was like, I didn't believe that Zara needed to, be on these specific medications long term. And I was wrestling with that with the Lord. And then he sent me to like look up some things. And I was like, wait, I think this is the case here. And so because I was wrestling with it, I stepped in and I saw something that was a little bit more. And I was like, no, I don't have a vision for her to be consistently on these medications, and I began to see something different, so
Yeah.
if that
That's
makes
good.
sense.
That's really, really good. Did you see what I'm talking about? You said like the way your mind thinks
You're
is
so
so
funny.
powerful.
You're so
You
funny.
know, you was like, you asked me the question and I was like, yeah, it's like I gave you a business answer what it was. And
Well, that's how you think too,
yeah, that's
but,
how I think.
ladies are more
Yeah.
verbal,
Yeah. And
so
then I threw it back at you and you was like, well, Abraham, I was like, oh, here she goes. I mean, but it's great. Don't get me wrong, it's great. But,
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, I think that was really, really good, though. I
Yeah.
mean, so it really makes you think about, like, if you have a when you have a vision, what do you do when a wrench is thrown into it?
Mhm.
What do you do when, say, for instance, like Zara, we knew she was gonna be an artist and, she was gonna live such a great life, and then there was a wrench thrown into that. Like, how do you it reel reel it back in, so to speak, like you said, this is not the vision that I felt like God had for her.
Mhm.
And I was just saying that to say that's really, really good. Like, what do you do when you get a wrench thrown into the end vision that you have for your family? And I think how you explain you had to go to God to get that answer
Yeah.
for the most part. So,
And you have to, because the Lord speaks to us
mhm.
in not the most obvious ways. It may just be a gnawing of something that may still be like in your mind, or you may not have a settling or a peace about a specific situation. And we're going to talk about it a little bit later, but vision comes from the Creator.
Yeah.
And so you have to lean into that and not ignore it.
Hmm.
Because once you ignore it, then you're just, you miss that opportunity. You may make different decisions as a result of that. And so, to your point, too, it's very important for you to have vision for your family.
Yeah.
Like, we're here to, like, how did I deal with the overwhelm in that moment?
Right.
Because I had a vision for my family and I come into agreement with the vision for my family. And you have to wrestle
Yes.
with those things that are contrary
Mhm.
to the what you feel or what you see for your family, and you have to reject those things that are contrary to what you see, to what you feel.
So how do you come into agreement with the vision, and
Mhm.
how do you reject those things that are contrary? So can you break that down of what that really means?
So it's a two-part question.
Mhm.
Number one, how do you come into agreement with the
Mhm.
vision? Um,
And we're assuming that's God's vision, right? God's vision for your
right,
family.
right. I think that you have to first be aware of yourself.
Mhm.
Because when I think about stuff coming into agreement, I'm picturing a like an outlet, right? You have a cord and you're gonna stick it into the outlet. If there is something that is blocking the outlet from allowing that cord to be stuck into it, that's an internal thing. You gotta clean out those areas and be aware that there's something blocking those areas from that's allowing you to come into agreement with that thing. So you have to acknowledge your own faults, your own discrepancies. Am I dealing with fear? And specifically too, I'm gonna go in on fear because when you get, like, speaking back to this hospital situation, when you get diagnosis and those are the things you have fear, you have all of these words that are coming into your mind, and you have to push those things away, but you have to first acknowledge that they're actually existing
Right.
so that you can push it away. So the first thing, like, how do you come into agreement? You need to be aware of your own faults, and you need to deal with those things so that you can um receive it, because you can receive it and then let it go. And what's the second part of the question?
How do you reject those things that are contrary to the vision?
How do you reject the things that are not in agreement? I'm gonna quote
Sorry,
Dr.
guys.
I'm gonna quote Dr. Miles Monroe. I don't know what message it was that he was saying, but when you have a clear vision,
Mhm.
it is so easy to say no.
That's good.
Because I mean, if it's not in alignment, it's easy. Okay, sorry, it's not going to work out. It's not in alignment with my vision, even though it's a good thing. So,
Mhm.
the two parts to the answer: you have to deal with yourself, your own insecurities, acknowledge where you are at fault, and where you're messed up a little bit. You got to deal with those things so that you can come into agreement with the word or whatever God is trying to give you in the moment. Like when you think about that cord going into the hole, there is no other room for anything else to come in there because you were connected. I mean, now, if you're not connected all the way, there's space in between that can kind of prevent you from connecting. But when you are cleaned out and that plug goes directly into the outlet, if it's not in alignment with the vision, it got to go. You have to reject it and acknowledge for what it is.
Yeah. I'll add that in order to come into agreement with the vision, I think you have to literally say it.
That's true.
When God gives a vision, like you really have to say, okay, I come into agreement with this vision that I feel that God has given me.
Mhm.
Because and especially if like you really believe it, it's important that you get your you I think it's important that your body knows it. And the way to get your body and your mind and your surroundings to know these things is to actually say it out your mouth that I come into agreement with what God has said over my life. I come into agreement with what God has said over my family.
Mm.
Even we're talking about Zara and her being in the hospital. Like for me, I was really concerned, very
Yeah.
concerned for her because I'm like, what in the world is going on? And there was moments where I did fear. I'm like, "Oh my goodness, how can this happen?" Like, like not how can this happen like she's above it, but like where in the world did this come from? And I struggled a little bit in my faith concerning it,
Oh, really?
Yeah, I struggled in my faith a little bit because I'm like, I'm praying and laying hands on her and declaring healing, and nothing seems to be working. I'm like,
Mhm.
God, what is it? Is it spiritual? Is it natural? Lord, how do we need to fight this thing? Because
Mhm.
this is not what you showed us, or
Right.
this is not what we expected in the moment. So I literally had to come into agreement and come into agreement with what I believe was for her life. I believe that God brought healing for her. I believe that she was going to live a life of happiness again, like being outside, loving to do art again. I believe those things. So I had to say I come into agreement with the vision that God has for Zara and for Zara's life. And reject, when it comes to reject, I had to preach,
Yep.
this past weekend as well. And the Lord was dealing with me on prayer and how the different types of prayer and how the Bible began to talk about the prayer of faith and healing. And it also talked about how you have to have faith, and faith is the most important thing. One of the things the Lord was showing me, he said there were conditions set for prayer.
Mhm.
And he said there are do's and there's don'ts. The do's were pray to the Father, believe, and do it in secret.
Mhm.
The don'ts were don't be like the hypocrites. Don't pray to be seen. Um, don't doubt.
Yeah.
So those things helped me reject what I was seeing with my natural eye.
Mhm.
And I had to make a decision that I was no longer going to doubt.
Right.
I had to make a decision that I was going to believe what God's promise was in that moment. And that's how I rejected what was contrary of what I was actually seeing. I had to believe it.
Mhm.
And when you believe what God has said over your family, or over your children or over your spouse, when you believe that thing, what you're telling that situation is, I reject you
Yeah.
because I choose to believe what God has said
Mhm.
concerning the situation.
Okay. Oh, babe, that was so good.
Yeah.
That was really, really good. So, as you were speaking and we're talking about vision and you believe what the Lord has showed you concerning Zara, what do you do when the Lord says something and you don't believe it as it concerns vision? Like what if the Lord is saying he's telling you something um but it's hard for you to understand it and it's hard for you to believe it. I guess it's the same thing as far as rejecting it, or I mean
Like
it's
when
a little
well,
bit
you may
different.
not necessarily reject it, even though you don't understand it.
Yeah, how do you receive it? How do you when the Lord wants to tell you something, how do you receive it when your whole body doesn't believe it in the moment, but you want to receive it?
That's a good question.
Because you said that fear came, right?
Mhm. Fear
And
came what was going on with her
yeah. So in
because it had been a month. It had been a month, but
Yeah,
go
she
ahead.
was in pain for a month.
Mhm.
Um, but my question is like, how do you like when the Lord says something to you, whether it's a prophetic word or whether it's a dream, or whether it's something that He's revealing to you in prayer, and it's a vision that the Lord wants to show you. How do you receive it? If you how do you receive it if it's so far beyond your natural mind?
Yeah,
Because vision is something that, you can see, right? What if it's something that is so far beyond what you see, but you wanna receive it, but something is stopping you from doing it? How do you how do you deal with that?
for me, as it relates to Zara, this situation now, currently, someone did say, "Oh, your daughter's gonna be okay." It's just a distraction. The enemy's trying to distract you. And the Lord said, don't be surprised. I forgot to tell you this. The Lord said, don't be surprised if the doctors can't find anything, you know.
Mm.
And so I took that. I was like, okay, Zara's gonna be okay. It's all gonna be okay. And so when I asked Zara, how you doing? I'm at a 10. I'm like, Lord, is that what you really said? Because I expected God to
Immediately.
move,
Mhm.
But I would say, how do I do it? I mean, you just have to believe. I
Mm.
mean,
You have to
either
choose
you
to
have to
believe
choose to,
beyond. Choose
yeah,
to believe. That's
you have
good.
to choose to believe, even irregardless of
What you see.
what you see. And like for Zara, what she was feeling in the moment, I had to still believe. I had to say, okay, well, we're still going to believe. We're still going to pray. It may not look good right now,
Mhm.
but everything may not happen overnight.
Yeah.
Everything may not happen in the moment. And so, yeah, I mean, that's my answer.
Mhm.
You have
That's
to
good.
choose to believe.
So let me ask you this. Do you think that it is always a big clear picture, or does when God reveals things, or do you think God reveals things in small steps?
I think it can be both and.
Both and.
Yeah,
Both and.
both and. I think God can give you a big clear picture,
Mhm.
and I think he can also reveal in small steps. And let me explain. So what I mean by that is I believe God can say, I'm gonna use my business for example. I believe God said that I'll have multi-million salon, luxury hair salon, right?
Mhm.
And I picture it and I can see it.
Mm.
To me, that's a big picture.
Yeah.
Now the steps on getting there are the small pictures.
Mhm.
Does that make sense?
Small steps.
Are the small
No
steps.
small pit. No, just the steps getting
Yeah.
there are the small pictures. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. Does that make sense? So like there's a big picture. I think he can give you a big picture, okay, like say for instance, okay, in 5 years you're gonna do this,
Mhm.
and this is what it's gonna look like. This is what your life is gonna look like in that moment. And I'm generalizing because anybody could be listening and thinking this, but within those 5 years of getting there, he gives you other steps and other pictures, small pictures or small steps to get to the bigger picture.
Yeah.
So that's why I think it can be a little bit of both.
Mm.
And the Bible also says that we know in part and we prophesy in part.
Yeah.
So I don't think we would necessarily always know the full picture,
Right.
because if he gives us the full picture, how do we trust him?
That's true. So it's interesting because we are so different as it pertains to like vision for our lives and where we ended up. And I'm thinking about this big picture that I personally created for my life. I was gonna be married by this age. I was gonna be in the best shape of my life. I was gonna do this career. I think I was gonna be a nurse anesthetist. Like I had all of these plans in place, and then they didn't come to fruition.
Mm-hmm.
And it what they didn't come to fruition because they were not able to be achieved. I remember, the first year of our marriage, I grabbed my book to study to become a certified, critical care registered nurse, so I can get that certification to apply to nurse anesthetist school the very next week, and I remember saying, "What am I doing? I don't wanna do this." I don't wanna do th and that was my whole reason of going to school to be a nurse, like, there was no other reason why I went to school to be a nurse, and so I thought that my vision for my life had crumbled,
Yeah.
and I didn't have
So
vision.
is that where it all started?
Probably what all start.
Like you say, the vision for your life.
Yes.
So,
Yeah, the vision, the big picture vision that I had for my life, it probably came crumbling down 1 year into my marriage. Thanks a lot. No, just kidding. No, but you did have something to do with it, though.
How did I have something to
Because you came home and
because
you
I was happy
yes, exactly, and because you came home happy every
and I love
single
my
day, you
job.
love your job, and I was crying in the bathroom on my lunch break, and I
Yeah.
was like, "This like, what you like what you."
I remember you asked me, you was like, "You love your job?"
I was
I'm like,
shocked.
"Yes, I love what I
I
do."
couldn't believe that you loved what you did every
Yeah.
day. And it still baffles me to this
Yeah.
day sometimes. So yeah, that was my journey and when it comes to vision. So I felt like from that moment on, I was like on a journey to search for for what am I doing with my life?
Yeah.
And so as the question pertains, does God give the big picture? I struggled with big picture thinking
Yeah.
because I felt like everything that I put my big picture thoughts in for years and years and years, it
Failed.
not that it failed because I could have done it
Could have done
because
it. That's true.
I was on my journey on my steps. I was in the ICU working as a nurse. I was still going to I had got a like a some type of other degree at UM, and I just literally need to take that test. I had the GPA, had all the things. I just had to apply to school, and I knew I would have gotten in. But just something in me, I was no, this isn't what I have for you. So it's like, well,
Mhm.
what do you have for me?
Right.
And so um for me, I believe my the Lord has taken me through small steps.
Yeah.
Could be because it's hard for me to see the bigger picture, but, my vision has come it had to be dig a little deeper, to figure out, "Okay, well, what do I genuinely want?" And maybe not, the huge picture, but the Lord has been taking me step by step either way, every single step of the way. And, yeah, so we kinda differ as it when it connects to that aspect.
Yeah. That's true. I think so. So I want to go on to our next question.
Okay.
And my question is, where does vision come from?
I think, as we were just talking, um, I believe that talking about Dr. Miles Monroe again, I used to listen to him so much, but he talked about, I don't know if he was talking like a VCR manual, a VCR, or you get some type of electronic device and you need to go to that specific manual that from that creator to actually find out how it operates. The same thing is with us as human beings. Um, our creator is God. And I believe that God creates us in his image and he gives us certain personalities and certain giftings. They were all given by him, and we have to go to him to receive the vision for our life. Because, like I said earlier, um, I did not consult the Lord in my planning to become a nurse or a nurse anesthetist. It never even crossed my mind to
Yeah.
even think about that, 'cause I wasn't saved at the time.
Mhm.
I mean, I grew up in church, but my heart wasn't for the Father the way that it is now, and so I made my own plans, and once I got into a place where my heart was for Him, I realized that that was kinda different, and I'm in the process of, continually seeking Him day by day, and He's revealing more and more to me. Yeah. What about you?
That's good. I agree with you. I think vision comes from God. And there's a scripture. I think people use this scripture for different reasons, like, when it relates to like spiritual matters, like heaven or hell or something. But there's a scripture that talks about how God put eternity in our
Oh,
hearts.
that's true.
And for me, I think God already puts vision or at least some parts of visions within us. like you already said, like God puts gives you your personality, certain things that you like. I think that vision can be implanted within our hearts at an early age. And so, yeah, I think it's God. And I think, by way of already planting that seed on the inside of us, that, naturally some people come out with passions,
Mhm.
you can see passions from little children. Like, even as we think about our children, we see how they all have their own little things that they're drawn to
Mhm.
and that they're passionate about. Like, one of our daughters is passionate about building things, and she's been like that ever since she was a little girl and hasn't deterred from that. She's drawn whole cities on, the poster. Now she's actually building it with cardboard boxes.
Right.
Our other daughter who loves to read and write and stuff like that. So I think there is some things that are naturally within us that God puts there
Yeah.
when it comes to vision, and go ahead, you're gonna say
Yeah,
something.
no, that's good. I was gonna ask, the next question. As it connects to vision, why do we let vision go? What happens in our lives? Because quoting Dr. Miles Monroe yet again, he says that the most expensive place on the earth
It's the
is the
graveyard.
graveyard.
I thought about that same quote.
Yeah, and so people die with vision stored inside of them, or people, they let the visions within their heart go, and it like the glimmer of light that used to shine in their eyes now become dull.
Hmm.
Why do we let vision go?
I think there can be a couple of reasons why we let vision go. The first reason I think people let vision go is because they feel like they can't achieve it.
Mm,
I think they feel like sometimes it may be too big, whatever that is. Say for instance, we have a vision to take our family on a month-long vacation. For some, that may be too big of a vision that seems unattainable.
mhm.
And I think they would just throw it out their mind, be like, "Oh, I'll never achieve that."
Yeah.
So I think sometimes when you feel like visions are too big is one of the reasons why people let them go. I think another reason, and this word is thrown around a lot, but I think another reason is trauma or life experiences, for lack of a better term. Life experiences causes people to let their vision go, you know, whether it could be being hurt on the job, it could be your spouse talking negative to you or telling you your vision is stupid, your vision is dumb. It could be something like that.
You sure look my eyes. You said that. I'm just
Well, some people really deal with stuff like
no,
that,
they do.
and
It's
it really
unfortunate.
kills the vision on the inside of them.
Yeah.
So, I think that's why people let vision go sometime. It could be life experiences, and it can really be
The vision is too big.
the vision is too big. What do you think?
Yeah, I think too, I think they let it go because they stopped looking at it.
Mm,
You don't when you turn your eyes away from something, you forget what it looks like. You
yeah,
forget the details of it. You forget, how it makes your heart jump a beat when you stare at it and you imagine yourself. When that imagination goes because you've drifted your sight, your natural sight from the vision, it can go away.
out of sight, out of mind.
Yes. Out of sight, out of mind, and as I was thinking about my own story, how initially I had this, personal ambitious plan. For me, the Lord, He is causing me to search Him out,
Mm,
to search Him out, because I believe that there are mysteries that lie within the scriptures, within Him that He wants to show me, and if you're not willing to do the work, if you're not willing to sacrifice or to pray and to ask the right questions and to spend time with the Lord,
mm.
I believe the vision that He does have for you, it will kind of float away.
Yeah, that's good.
So yeah,
Yeah. So, what do you think about us? I want to talk about, do you think we've ever had a moment in our marriage where we have had misaligned visions or separate visions?
Well, there's a process of becoming one,
Yeah, it
and
is.
we got married when we were 23,
Yeah,
23 years old, and I don't
we got
think
married young.
yeah, I don't think that we had a full grasp on who we were individually. There was still a lot of maturing that, we both needed to do
Or
as
you.
that was good. I like the way you did. Are
Me.
you? No, but that was good. I would say the same thing to you. But I was saying like spiritually too.
Yeah,
Having that spiritual maturity
for sure.
is I think is where I think we lacked the most because we were able to take care of ourselves and things like that. And all we just knew that you get married, you have a family, and I don't believe that we looked at, okay, well, what's the vision for your life? We never asked each other those questions to see did they align? Because I didn't think that they needed to align. It's like,
Right.
in my
Your
mind,
thing and I do my
that's
thing.
exactly was my mentality. You do your thing, I do my thing. In a collaborative way, but probably in a parallel collaboration, not necessarily
Intersecting.
yes, intersecting at any way because I didn't think it was necessary. So the question is, have we had misaligned visions? Yes, because what you wanted for us was not
What
what
you
I
wanted.
wanted
Right.
at all. I was perfectly content going to my job that I cried at, paying off some debt, and living comfortably.
I'll say I think when it comes to our visions, like I had a more codependent vision and you had a more independent
Oh
vision.
yes, very independent.
Oh,
Absolutely.
when it came to our visions, and I think that's where we kind of, I wouldn't say clash because I don't, we never had a marriage where we clashed,
Yeah.
but I think that's where we differ and where our visions didn't align.
Yeah, I was very
Like
independent.
I wanted us to be in business together, grow this. I'm like, let's grow this salon. You come work for me. And what did you tell me?
I said, "You can't afford me."
She told me I could not afford her.
Like, "Yeah, how much you gonna pay me?" Absolutely not.
Exactly. It was true. I couldn't afford you.
For me.
So, but I was like, who cares? Let's build this thing together.
Love you. Let's get together and build greatness. We can do
I
it.
did feel like
I know you did. I was like, he has a lot in his mind.
so. I think that's where
Yeah.
we had misalignment in our
Mhm.
marriage because we had two totally different ideas of what we were doing.
Mhm.
And I don't did we ever even talk about it? I don't even us ever remember talking about it. I know I've mentioned about
You mentioned, and then I told you you couldn't afford me,
right.
and that
But
kinda
we've never really sat and talked, okay, what are we really doing?
no,
What are we trying to do?
no. Mm-mm.
And we never really did that until later on in our marriage,
Right.
and understood. I remember I wanted us to do everything together. I wanted to be in ministry together. I wanted you to preach with me. We're gonna be counseling married couples together. I wanted you to be in at the salon with me. You can help manage it while I do the hair and work and stuff like that. So
And I was
we
like,
definitely
I
had
ain't no first lady.
yeah.
Don't be trying to put me in no box
Exactly.
like that.
So do you think it affected us in our marriage in a particular way or anything like that?
So,
Yeah.
because in the process of becoming one, um, I I wasn't open
Mhm.
to your heart in that way.
No, you were not. But that heart had chains
It was a lot.
and padded locks on there.
Yes. No, no, no. Because I was like, "Oh, no, I'm very independent. I got this. I don't need to do ministry with you
Right.
because God ain't called me to minister in that way." I was like, "That's your
That's your
thing.
calling.
That's your thing." He told and I was supportive of you.
You were.
I was
But I felt like you wasn't supporting me because you wouldn't come with me.
yeah, you understand. Yeah. So you didn't view my support because I wasn't walking
It
in the
wasn't the way that I thought I wanted you to support
yes.
me.
Yes. And I was like, I'm not stopping you from doing these things.
Yeah.
You're the one that comes from a family of pastors and ministers
And
and
you want me to tell you the thoughts I had though?
yeah, go
I
ahead.
was young. I was like, I ain't gonna preach and God gonna get
God, go get me.
God gonna get you.
He would have got you.
'Cause you stopping me from preaching the word of the Lord.
That's
Even though you weren't stopping
sure.
me. No, we were not mature at all.
No, you never even told me that. That's funny. But no, but you see, even that moment that you said right there,
Mhm.
the misalignment of visions cause you to create a whole narrative in your mind
Mhm.
uh, about the situation. And I thought I was fine supporting you. You go ahead, you preach, you do that thing. I'll be on the back row, you
Right.
know, and that's good. And I thought I was, but but it didn't give me full access to your heart.
Right.
And there were definitely areas that you probably did not open up.
Mhm.
And like in Genesis, I believe it's chapter 2, verse 25, where it talks about how they were both naked and unashamed.
Yes.
You're not going to be naked and unashamed if you're not open enough and there's a clear communication regard, because not everybody's relationships that they're called to work together.
Mhm.
There are certain elements of it, but I mean, obviously, we're doing the podcast now,
I
so
always knew that was something we were supposed to do
and
together.
I had no clue.
I knew that. But you remember years ago, I told you, I was like, I, I don't know how we got on the topic, but I told you, I was like, I think we're going to be mentoring married couples one day.
Yeah, and I'm like,
Yeah, you
why would
remember
I do that?
that. Right.
Why would I do that?
Because I saw it.
Yeah, see,
I saw it.
and that's the thing. It's exactly what
It's
we're talking
vision.
about.
Yeah.
You had the vision, and
Mhm.
I did not have the
Right.
vision for it.
So that's what which is really, really good. So that brings us to our next question is how do y- how do you align visions between spouses when each spouse has two different visions? Like how do you get on the same page?
Step one, deliverance.
True. Deliverance definitely would help.
Yeah, step one is that. Um, yeah, I would definitely say well, you have deliver, but you have to communicate.
Yes.
You have to communicate. You have to become an active listener and not listen to respond, but actually listen to understand where the heart of the person is coming from. I needed to be open to you, and you needed to be open
Yeah.
to me as well.
Yeah, and I will agree with that. That's exactly what I was going to say. Is you have to talk. You
Yeah,
have to open up and talk because I wanted to talk about a situation when we talked about our vision for our family, or when we were either talking about the vision or just dreaming. And one of your big things was being debt free. Being having financial freedom, and one of my big things were being able to do like philanthropy work, helping people pay off bills or, you know, buying a family toys for Christmas or something like that. And when we actually sat and talked and thought about it, we actually saw that our visions actually wasn't not necessarily polar opposites,
yeah,
but they actually could work together
hmm
because your financial freedom mindset could help me do the philanthropy mindset stuff
right.
or that type of vision.
Well, you struggle with that one. You was about to butcher it.
Philanthropy.
That's
But
funny.
yes, so yeah, I would agree that
Yeah,
you have to talk about it
right.
and
And then
see where can your visions align
right.
and where can you support one another within those visions.
Yeah, and actually using the word support, having a good understanding of what support means.
Yes, exactly.
Like
Because
you didn't think I was supporting you, and I thought I was like 10 toes in supporting you.
yeah.
But I didn't even honestly, I didn't think that you were serious
Hmm.
when it was like, "Oh, I see us doing ministry together. Oh, that's so cute.
Yeah.
That's so cute."
Yeah.
But I didn't view it, I didn't know that that was the placement of your heart. And then you learned about, different, like, that marriage, that you doing ministry and me not necessarily doing it in that space,
Hmm.
um was okay. Like, it didn't have to be that, because you only saw that because your
Yeah.
parents did ministry that way. They were in
Exactly.
tandem.
Exactly. And I
And
thought definitely me and my wife are going to be just like my mom and dad.
absolutely, yes,
We're
we
going to
are.
be preaching together.
Yeah. you give her a mic right.
Exactly.
Yeah, but that was your experience.
Mhm.
And I understood that after, after we got to a point where we talked about it. And even when you said that we sat down and dreamed, we got to a point where we realized we have to just kind of come together.
Mhm.
Let's wipe the slate clean and let's just dream.
Mhm.
Write it down, clear out your thoughts, like write down the biggest goals that you
Right.
have and what you really want your life to look like.
That's good. So that's gonna bring us to our final question of the night is how do we create vision? But before we get into how we create vision, we are going to go into our dirty dish of the week. And so, Monica, do you have a dirty dish of the week that you want to share with the people?
Yes. So what our dirty dish of the week is, we're going to talk about an experience, maybe one that was emailed in or a personal one of ourselves. We're going to discuss it and say, hey, did we handle that with grace or no? So we were talking a lot about Zara.
Yeah.
With her being in the hospital. She was there for 4 days, and I do work remotely. And so I took my work with me to the hospital,
You did.
and I had signed up for, even extra hours that day. It was already previously um scheduled,
Scheduled.
and I didn't cancel it because I never call out.
Yeah.
I'm just that type of person. And so I was just trying to push through it, and it was a very busy day. It was a
Yes.
very busy day, not only for the assignment, but being present, when the doctors come in just to answer questions for Zara. And you were like, babe, I miss you. I
Mhm.
miss you. I miss Zara. We were there like 3 days at this point,
I
and
also wanted to make sure you had a good meal
you
because
did,
you were eating hospital food,
and it
everybody
was
knows it's not the
disgusting.
best. So
Yeah, it was
I
pretty
wanted
bad.
I did miss you and Zara and I wanted to come see you guys, but I also wanted to bring you some food too. So I
Yeah,
thought it
and
was
so he brought himself and all 4 of the extra kids,
yes.
and at this specific moment, I was already working, I think 11 hours at the time, and I was so far behind at work, and I had a ton to finish, and I just got to a point where I just had, like, 14 more patients that I needed to, go into their charts and do some reviews, and I got to a place where I was like, "Alright, I'm comfortable, I can breathe, I'm ready to go," and then you showed up.
Yeah.
You showed up with the kids and you let Zion out. I think I had went to the help Zara go to the bathroom. You let Zion out. I turn around. He's on my computer, just banging it, right? And I'm like, okay, I'm not thinking anything of it. He was there. Zuri was there. But you're probably there maybe like 7, 8 minutes at this point. So I go back and sit down, go to my computer. I can't pull up no patients at all.
Right.
I can't pull it up at all. He was banging on the computer and I freaked out.
You
I
did.
freaked out.
I could tell you were extreme
And then
frustrated. I didn't even want to look at you.
eye
I could
contact.
feel your
I didn't look at you either. I was
I
like,
could feel your
oh
fury.
my, I was like, I cannot believe this. I
Yeah.
cannot believe this. And then I turn and I look at him. He's sitting there just jumping on the couch and trying to open up the windows. And I'm like, this is not going well. I can't believe this.
I was like, okay, let me go. Time to go.
So yeah, so Curtis ended up leaving. And the hospital was about 30, 35 minutes
Yeah, I think I
away
stayed a good 10,
from
15
home. Yeah, he
minutes.
stayed 10 minutes and he was like, we need to go. And so you get up, boy. I get on the phone with IT and I was on the phone with her for a minute, like a good minute for us to, it was a small fix for the computer, but that was my dirty dish for the week. It was a mess. I was so stressed. There was no grace that was even left within I just couldn't take it. I couldn't
Yeah.
believe it. I almost felt like I wanted to internally cry,
Yeah,
but I held it
I
in.
could tell.
Yeah, I was so frustrated.
Yeah.
And then you took the kids and you was like, "Kids, we're not eating. Let's go."
Because we were supposed to eat there at the hospital and everything.
Everybody, let's go. They're like, "We're not eating.
No, we're eating home.
We're eating."
But I let them eat in the car.
I heard you. You was like, "Give us a chicken." So that was my dirty dish of the week. In your opinion, How was that handled?
I think you handled it with grace.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I do. I mean, you could have been like, "Y'all get out, go home." You didn't say that. You didn't do that. Um, like again, I could feel the fury. There's no fury like a woman scorned.
Going. Okay, maybe.
No, but I think you handled it with grace. To be honest, I mean, I would have been upset.
Oh, really?
Yeah, probably if it was me and I was tired at the hospital 3
Yeah.
days and I'm working a 12-hour shift and then my kid come in and mess up my computer and I can't find, I would have been really frustrated. I made you a plate politely and you said thank you. I said you're welcome, gave you a kiss, got the kiss, got up out of
He was
there.
like, "Let me go to pot here."
So yeah. So that's our dirty dish of the week. So
Thank you. I
yeah.
didn't know you. I honestly thought that you were gonna be upset.
No, I wasn't upset.
Oh, wow.
I
That's good
wasn't
to hear.
upset.
That's good to hear.
I mean, I was like, well, this was a bad idea.
You did say that. I bet your vision for this experience was not
It was
happening.
not what I thought it was gonna be.
Yeah.
So that's our dirty dish of the week,
Yeah. If you
and
guys have any dirty dishes that you want us to talk about or review, you can
yeah,
send us the email. We'll have the information below.
yes. Oh, and we want the people to know that you don't have to say your name or who it's from unless you want us to, but it's gonna be totally anonymous. Um, so now we wanna talk about how to create a vision. We're
Yes.
gonna, not stick with this too long, but we're gonna talk about how to create a vision, and do you mind telling the people, some of the steps that we feel like, that we took to create our vision?
Yeah, I wanna, kind of premise that a little bit by saying, like, as you spoke before, we were having our marriage for a pretty decent amount of time, and they were parallel.
Mhm.
They were parallel. There was elements of, there was not that element of vulnerability where you were naked and unashamed, and we got to a point where we had
Wasn't
to come to what?
I wasn't naked and unashamed?
I mean, I'm talking about,
I
like,
know, I'm just
you're
kidding.
hysterical. I can't. I can't. But, and in talking about vulnerability and creating starting over again and kinda creating a vision, there was definitely a oneness
Mhm.
that came.
Yeah.
We were kinda, like, on the same page. You were open. I was open to different things that I was not open to before through the Lord as well, through the Lord, guidance as well as He's did some personal inner work on me. But I say that to say having a vision for your family is extremely important.
Mhm.
Um, we talked about how elements of vision for our daughters, elements of vision, how you had a specific vision intentionally of our marriage and how it wasn't on the same page. But there is power when you come together. When you talk about Genesis and how the two are becoming one, it's understanding that becoming period is so essential. It's not an immediate thing. And we were reading our friend again,
Yeah.
Dr. Miles Monroe, I think it was called Kingdom Marriage.
Kingdom marriage.
Yeah, and he was explaining about the process, like when you become one, you are fused together. When you rip it up, you're not glued, but you are fused. And when you rip it apart, um, it can never be the exact same again.
Mm.
And it's about that fusion and that becoming one. I think that one has to do with one vision for your family.
Good. So
And
good.
so we talked a little bit about our experiences with not having vision, what it felt like being in those dark places, being in a depressed place and not even realizing, not being able to see. So it is our family has shifted.
Yes.
Our hearts have shifted. There's been another level of joy, another level of peace that has entered into our home that is now being able to translate into our children. You mentioned on our last episode that a strong family is a family that is healed. And I think that that is definitely in connecting with this as well. You're healed and we're one and we're having the same vision. So, with that premise, talking about how to create a vision, we believe that it is a three-step process.
Yes.
And the process number one is you have to acknowledge God. You have to acknowledge God, and you do this by reflection and by
Prayer.
prayer.
Mhm.
And, you can ask God certain questions. You can ask God, what are the gifts that you have given me? What are the things that you have put on the inside of me? Because we're all created to do a work. And
Yes.
especially if you and your spouse is coming together, that work can be done together. It should be something that meshes well with one another. And so that's step one, reflecting, acknowledging God,
In prayer.
and
And
prayer.
step 2 was define your core values.
What do we mean by
And
core values?
core values is basically 3 to 5 adjectives that you choose that you want to live by, that you want your family to live by. Um, so for instance, we choose love. We want our core values in our home to be love. We want it to be joyful. We want it to be peace. So those are that would be core values. So we have some, faith in God, honesty, responsibility, humility, obedience, honor. That's just to name a few.
Mhm.
So your core values can be anything. And based off business, what I know about business, your core values create the culture
Right.
of the place you're in, of your
Mhm.
business, of the atmosphere. So we do that same thing for the home. So when you choose your core values, what you are doing essentially is creating the environment in your home. You're creating the culture that you want your family to live by.
Right.
Okay?
Right.
So yeah.
Yeah, and because the truth of the matter is you can have 2 people that are going to the exact same place,
Mhm.
but because their value system may differ. You may have one, they may value, joy
Mhm.
or fun. That may be a core value for their family. So as they're going to that journey, they're probably gonna stop and have a lot more,
Mhm.
enjoyment. They may do this a little bit
You
more.
make your decisions
Mhm.
based off your core values.
Precisely. You make your decisions based on off your core values, and your vision is actually where you're going. You may have another family that may have a core value of generosity. So as they're going to their destination, they're going to make it uh, something that they need to do as they, giving and giving. And I wanted to touch a little bit too on options of questions
Okay.
that people may have when you're talking to God, because that's something that I definitely do in prayer. I ask questions and I journal my responses, but
You do.
you can ask God, what do we want our home to feel like spiritually?
Mm.
What do we want our home to feel like emotionally? And, believe that He will speak. And I talked about earlier about acknowledging what gifts that you have, and then saying, what type of legacy, God, what type of legacy do you want me to leave behind in this earth? What do you want our family to be known for? So having this understanding will allow you to see where you're going, and then you have the core values that lets you know the culture that you are bringing together
Right.
and how you're going to get there. And the combination of those two things, you have step one,
Mhm.
prayer and reflection, step two, core values, and then you have step three, where you're actually bringing it all together.
Yes. That's good.
Yeah. So do you want to give an example of like
Yeah.
what our
We could read
family?
we could read our family vision statement, and Imma read
Yeah.
it. It's rooted in the spirit. Our home will overflow with peace, joy, love, and laughter. We are a family called to serve, ministering to the hearts and giving generously to those in need. With God as our foundation, we will leave a legacy of transformation, wisdom, and spirit-led influence for generations to come.
That is good. And so what we want to do is we actually have a free download that you
Yes.
guys can click inside of the description below. And there's a free workbook that has all of the steps that we just talked about, some questions that you can work through and sit with the Lord and really ask God to help paint the vision that you have for your family. You can do this with your spouse and actually come
Yeah, we
together.
encourage you to do it with your spouse, you
Yes.
guys to come together.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's important that as husbands and wives, that, who's ever listens, wives, get your husbands, to listen, and also just you guys sit together and you list your visions individually and
Right.
talk about those visions individually. Also your dreams, that's kind of synonymous,
Mhm.
dreams of aspirations of what you want to do. And you see how can you make those things align?
Mhm.
How can you two come together, make that vision align, not just for you, yourselves, but for your family as a whole.
Right.
And I wanted to say this too. I think it's important that you have a vision, not just for the family as a whole. You can have a vision for the marriage.
Yeah,
You can have a separate vision just for the children.
you should.
So I think it's important that you can even break it down a little bit more to make it specific, to each other and or to each segment within the family.
That's good.
Yeah.
I'm thinking about, Jeremiah 29 and 11, where it says how, you know, God says, "I know the purpose and the plans I have for you." The plans
Mhm.
are the vision, and they're not plans to do harm, they are plans to prosper you. And
Give you an expected end.
mhm, and it's important for people to believe that,
Yeah.
believe that there are prosperous plans for your children
Yeah.
as well, and it's connected to you training them.
Yeah.
And we have to seek the Lord to get that information. Some of this, God does, some kids have clues because they,
Mhm.
may have certain giftings naturally, but it's our job to raise them and to train them and to have, capture the vision of the Lord. And even in Habakkuk, I believe it's Habakkuk 2 and 2 and 2 and 3, where it talks about how
Mhm.
you have to write the
The
vision
vision.
and you have to make it plain. You
Yeah.
can write that thing down. Like I stated earlier, how do you lose the vision? You stop looking at it.
Mhm.
And so actually physically taking these vision down, writing it down, putting it before you, allowing it to be a reminder of where you're going in your family, of what you stand for in your family, of what your culture and your core values are for your family, so that when situations happen that are contrary to the core values, you have a place to go to and say, no, no, no. This is what we believe in our home. This is what we hold true in our heart. And this is how we're going to align our lives to fulfill these desires, because this is the legacy that we're gonna leave. We're gonna be known for these things in our
Yeah.
family.
Yeah, that's so good. I also want to make sure we mention the last part of that scripture in Habakkuk. It says, "Write the
Mhm.
vision down, make it plain, so
He that
he
see it
that
may run.
see it may run with it." And it's important that you don't just write these visions down, just between you and your spouse, but you share it with your children
Amen.
so
I
that
said
when
amen.
they see it, they can run with it too.
Mhm.
And that's where the legacy come from. The legacy comes from the husband and the wife and the children
Yeah.
building that family legacy together. I'm reminded about Sam Walter or
From
whatever
Walmart.
from Walmart.
Mhm.
He's built a legacy and a vision that even his children to this very day are running with.
That's true.
You know, so it wasn't just about him. He made it
That's true.
bigger than himself.
Yeah.
And when you think about all other Disney, think about Disney, the man that created Disney, the daughter,
Or Hilton.
yeah, or Hilton. These families made their vision bigger than just themselves. They made it so plain and so clear that even their children are all running these businesses to this very day from years ago from starting these companies. So that is the goal of what we're trying to do within homes, within households,
Yeah.
for the families to create a vision and make it so plain, share it with your children that your children can take that and run with it. And I want to share one more thing. Even David, God gave David a vision to build the
The
temple.
temple.
He did not complete it, but his son did.
That's good.
You get what I
Yeah, I get it.
mean? So we have to create a vision that sometimes we're not going to be the ones to bring it to pass, but
Mhm.
it's going to be our children.
Yeah.
So it's important that we create these visions, make it plain, share it with our children, post it up in the home so that the whole family as a whole can run towards where God is calling us to be.
That's awesome. Let's close out. I'm gonna read, if it's okay, I'm gonna read Habakkuk 2, verses 2 and 3. This is the English Standard Version. And it says, "And the Lord answered me, write the vision, make it plain on tablets, so he may run who reads it. For still the vision awaits its appointed time. It hastens to the end. It will not lie. If it seems slow, wait for it. It will surely come. It will not delay.
It is so good.
It
So
will
powerful.
not delay. I think that is
Yeah, so we're gonna close out with prayer, a short prayer.
okay.
Can you pray based off that scripture?
Oh Lord, I just closed. Well, God, I thank you for every family that will listen to under the sound of my voice. Father, I pray that vision awakens on the inside of their heart. Every dream that has gone dormant, Father, I pray that you awaken it now. Every desire that may seem impossible, Father, may they partner with you and know that all things are possible to him who believes. I pray, God, for every family that they will come together as one and create vision as one because you put them together. Every marriage that is under the sound of my voice, I believe that it has been ordained by God. And I know, God, that even the things that may be ugly, you can turn it around and make beauty for ashes, and you can revive things, God. And I thank you for revival that will take place in hearts of people, that they will begin to see, they will write it down, and they will run with it. And it will be so powerful and compelling that their children and their children's children will be able to run alongside of it. God, I thank you for what you're doing in this season. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. Amen.
All right.
All right, guys. See you guys next week.
Yes, and thank you for watching Holy Hustle and Dirty Dishes because your family deserves more than just
survival.
survival. Because your family deserves more
More
than
than just
just
survival.
survival.
All right. Good night.